Welcome back. And hi, I'm Sam. I, again, am a book lover, thrifter, and crafty girl. But today I kind of wanted to normalize something a little different. I see people do these, but I don't see people really do this. So a lot of people do book hauls. A lot of people are like, oh, these are the books that I bought from blah, 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 blah. Well, at this point, we're in this economy. And as much as I love buying books, and buying books is another form of enjoyment, and it's a hobby for me, and I do have a lot of physical books that I have bought either through buying them from my local bookstore, Amazon, wherever, big box store, or just thrifting, or from a local library sale. I use my local library a lot. I love the fact that I live in a county, in a place that has a wonderful, wonderful library system that I get to take advantage of. So I have a very large stack. Hold on, I'll show you guys in just a second. Let me put down the microphone and I'll show you the big stack because I need two hands. That is a very large stack, and sadly, that is not all the books that I have gotten. So I'll start with, I think I mentioned this in the last video thing, but I am currently reading Buckeye by Patrick Ryan, which is a wonderful novel. I am about 60 pages in. I love it. It was a Junk Book Club book. It was very highly recommended by NPR's book list. It was on, I believe, Amazon's book list. It was on CBS Morning's book list. It was everywhere. And so I was like, oh, I need to get this book. And luckily, my library has this cool section. They call it fresh picks or new arrivals. And so essentially what you can do is you can get books that just came out, and you can bypass the wait list if you can find a physical copy in that section of my library. And that is so cool because you can check it out for 3 weeks. And it's a great way that you can get a jump start in the book while you're waiting for the other hold, or you can check out books that you may want to buy but are too hesitant to buy, because I think this book is now, this book is $30. When did that happen? When did books become, I will go on tangents, but I'm like, when did books become $30? Whew, okay. But that's Buckeye. It takes place in a small town in Ohio during World War II, and it follows this married couple as they are kind of going through the trials and tribulations of life. The husband has a disability where one of his legs is shorter than the other, and that made him unfit for military service. And so he is grappling with the fact that he is at home while this major war is happening and men are dying, and he is safe at home on the home front, and he just feels like he's completely unuseful to what is happening in the world. And then his wife is clairvoyant. She talks to dead people and is very much into seances and speaking with the dead. And so during World War II, business is great because a lot of people are coming to her because they want to know if their loved ones are alive or dead. If they're dead, they want to speak to them, say last words, and just kind of know more information about all of that. So that is it's been a very interesting book. I'm typically, as you will see from the stack, I am very much a romance and fantasy person, or a romantasy person. I kind of throw in a little bit of YA and children's literature every now and again, but for the most part, I am a fantasy, romantasy girly. So this literary fiction is a little different for me, but I will go through the stack. These are just the books that I got from the library. So first book is Robin Hobb's Assassin Apprentice. This is the first in the I think it's the Farseer trilogy. So a lot of people love that series, and this year I kind of want to get more into epic series, as you'll see later in my stack of books. I just want to get more series under my belt. But the next book I picked up is a sequel to the book I just finished, which was Among Crows by Veronica Roth. This is the second book, called To Clutch a Razor, which follows our main character. I believe it's Demeter, because it's supposed to sound like the Greek goddess Demeter. But we follow him and his companions, Ala and Nico, as they are trying to now grapple with the first book. The first book basically is them trying to find Baba Yaga. It takes place in Chicago in modern times, but it is kind of like Grimm, where there are monsters among us. So if like it's kind of like if you took Grimm, The Witcher, and like Buffy and put them all together. That is Among Crows. And it was so short and sweet, but it was so good, and I really, really enjoyed it. I loved it. Oh my God, I loved it. And it grapples with trauma and family dynamics and self-discovery and loving oneself, even when you may not be what you want to be, aka people are literally monsters, but just trying to grapple with things that you were taught that you may not necessarily believe in anymore, see a different way. I think a lot of us kind of relate to that. As we get older, there are things that we grew up with believing, we were taught, and we kind of question those things. That's very much what's happening in this book. And it's just a fun way to do that with Polish/Slavic folklore, which is fun. There's like strigas and all. It's wonderful. I love it. So that's To Clutch a Razor, and I'll let you guys know they're very short books, so you can get through them pretty quickly. The next book I have is not so short. This is Stone of Farwell by Tad Williams. This book is the bane of my existence. I read the first book in this series called The Dragonbone Chair, and it's in a series called, I think it's called Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, which essentially is a traditional fantasy. Tad Williams is a huge fantasy writer. I mean, this man is the person who George R. R. Martin, Patrick Rothfuss, Christopher, was it Paolini? The guy who wrote Aragon. I think I butchered his name, but they all basically credit this book for their books. So we follow this young servant. His name is Simon, and he is illiterate. He is kind of just a typical 15-year-old boy. There's nothing really special about him, typical of a fantasy protagonist. There's nothing really special about him. He's kind of a loser. But he works in the kitchens, and he catches the eye of the kind of like scholar, magician, magic person who lives in the castle, and he becomes his apprentice and, wants to learn magic. And of course, he's not going to learn magic immediately. So he basically is doing other tasks while he's waiting to learn magic. But in the midst of all of this, there is a king that dies. His oldest son takes over the throne. There's a famine. There's a drought. There's all these horrible things happening. There's also the stirrings of an ancient power. This kingdom was on top of an old kingdom that was run by basically what are elves. I almost consider them kind of like White Walkers. I can see where George R. R. Martin took a lot of inspiration from these books, but there's a missing prince, there is adventure, and there's a lot of walking. Lots of walking and running through the woods in this book. But I don't want to spoil too much because I think all the interesting stuff happens towards the end of this book. But I'm reading book number 2 because I got to finish it. Okay. Well, that was Stone of Farwell. The next book I have is by Katherine Addison. It's called The Witness for the Dead. So I believe she wrote a book called The Goblin Emperor. I have no idea what this book is about, but she was on a lot of lists of female fantasy writers that were amazing. And this is kind of like a novella. As you can see, I'm really in my novella era, as it were, just trying to get, some more books into my repertoire because I have a baby and I cannot read these thickety thick books anymore. I mean, it is like hard as hell trying to read right now. But that's the first. I think it's a duology. I think the next one is called, it doesn't say which. I think it's called like something stone or granite stone or something like that. But there's a duology, but it is in the world of her original novel, which is The Goblin Emperor, which I have on hold and I'm waiting for it to come. The next book I have is Ava Reid. I got this because I had read Rebecca Ross's Divine Rivals. Lord jeez, that was my number 1 book of 2025. And it kind of like reminded me of that. So I have no idea what this book is about either, but it has a vibe. And I am one of those people that like, if the cover is amazing, I'm going to go after it. But it's A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. I haven't read any of her other novels, which I hear are really great. So I hope, someone said this is a good introduction with her, but some people also said they didn't like this. So we'll see. The next one I kind of like really relate to right now, especially with this economy, but it's Margo's Got Money Troubles by Rufi Thorpe. I just loved this title. I have no idea what this is about, but it sounds great and I am here for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing why Margo has money troubles. I picked this up from the children's section. So this is a children's horror called The Night Gardener by Jonathan Auxier. One of the children's librarians at my main location, she said that she read it and she said she loved it. So it is, like I said, it is for kids. It was in the children's section. It's kind of a thick book for kids. I think this is like, it's like 342 pages. Oh, maybe more. Hold on. Oh, that wasn't, hold on. Nope, it is 345 pages. So I wanted to read it because it's a little spooky. I like kid horror. I feel like children's horror is sometimes better than adult horror. Speaking of adult horror, I got Mona Awad's sequel, We Love You, Bunny, from the original, like the first one was Bunny. And if you have not read Bunny, oh my God, that book is mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. It is an acid trip. It was a good old ride. I loved it so much. So I'm really excited to read the sequel. If you have not read Bunny by Mona Awad, what are you doing? Read it. It is amazing. It is weird. If you're a weird girl, or you got a lot of female rage, or you just like want a good trip, just do it. I mean, just a brief synopsis of the book is you follow this graduate student. Her name is Samantha. And she is in this fellowship where they're doing, she's in a poetry fellowship, which they never had an all-female cohort before. And so it's her and these 3 other girls. And they all call themselves bunnies. So like they say things like, oh, Bunny, you look so cute today, Bunny. Oh, Bunny, I love your hair, Bunny. Oh, that dress looks so cute on you, Bunny. It's really creepy. And they all live in this townhouse. And one day she gets an invitation to go to their townhouse. And they are doing some nefarious things with rabbits in there. And that's all I have to say. They're doing nefarious things with rabbits. And they're not like, they're doing magical things, magical, nefarious things with rabbits. Don't get your mind out the gutter. But it's very wonderful and it's so good. And the ending is great. So I'm excited for the second one. But the next book I have, which is the last out of all of the library books that I have currently, is I think it's Alix Harrow. The Everlasting, which is I believe this is a romantasy, but essentially it's like, what I was like given was like, this is like Femo Night. So it's kind of like Arthurian, in the way, but, I haven't read an Alix Harrow book. I didn't read, Starling House, even though I have a digital copy of it. I haven't read it yet. So, I just saw another booktuber who likes to read fantasy, and romantasy in particular, and she just said it was amazing, and my local library had it. So I was like, cool, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to read it. So I would give a more in-depth thing on all those books, but I kind of wanted to like do a little bit honorable mentions of some books that I don't have with me, but that I also am getting from the library. So the first one is Fairy Tale by Stephen King, which I heard is very good. Someone kind of put it in the same vein as John Connolly's The Book of Lost Things, which if you're not familiar with that book, it's very much grim fairy tales, but like in their true sense. And it is a little bit of horror because John Connolly writes a lot of horror. But it's like that mystical, magical horror. And that's what a lot of people kind of like have said about Fairy Tale, that it's like both like fantastical, but there's a little bit of horror elements in it because it is Stephen King. The other book I'm waiting for, I believe, are that one. I'm waiting for the other book by Katherine Addison, The Goblin Emperor. And then I'm waiting for a couple other romantasies. From my list, what I could see was I have The Will of the Many, which was highly recommended. I mean, these are all very much like, these are the hot fantasy books right now. On the Wings of Blood, which someone was like, it's vampires with dragons. It's Fourth Wing with vampires. And I was like, why? Might as well. I didn't particularly love Fourth Wing. That's here nor there. But we'll see. The other one I believe that I saw was Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, which is a prequel to Divine Rivals. If you have some more books that you recommend, I'm looking for a good Black author list too. I want more people of color. This is, and I recognize this is a very white author list. So if you have some recommendations, I have tried to read Evan Winter's Rage of Dragons. I think I'm going to try that again. I wasn't in the right mind space for that, but I'm going to try it again. M.K. Jemisin is also on my list. I tried to read Children of Blood and Bone, and it wasn't my thing. I have Legendborn. I have that, and I have the first two. I have Bloodmark, and I have Legendborn. I don't have Oathbound, but that is also my list. So I think I'm going to put Legendborn on the list this year because I haven't read that yet. I started reading Blood at the Root. I can't think of the author of that right now, but I started reading that last year. It was so good, but I had to return it to the library, and I ended up buying it for myself during the Christmas sale season. So I haven't just picked that up yet. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to giving you guys updates on how my reading goes. Okay, bye.